If children know how to identify right and wrong, not some vague mishmash of guilt and ugliness, and you say to a kid who tells a lie, for example, we're all guilty of this. A kid lies to you blatantly, and you say to him, "You lie to me?" What message did you just give? That lying is wrong? That lying to me is wrong? And what is wrong about lying to me? Chutzpah? You think I'm so dumb you can lie to me? What message am I giving here? I'm not teaching anything. Be clear. If a kid lies, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong is not allowed to lie. I understand why you're lying. I would probably do the same thing in your position. I mean, come on, you got to defend yourself. So you lie. I understand why. I understand that it takes a little intelligence to come up with that lie. The Rebbe's car was standing on Eastern Parkway, and a car drove by and scraped the side of the car and kept on going. So some Bachrim jumped in their car and they chased the guy down. And they cornered him, they pulled him out of the car, and this off-duty policeman comes by. And he has to do something, but he doesn't want to because it's his free time, he's off duty. So he's very, very annoyed. And he says, "Come on, what's going on here, guy? Just break it up. Everybody just go home." And the Bachram said, no, this guy is a hit and run. This guy said, "Hit and run? I'm here, you're here. Where's the hit and run? We're both here." I mean, the brilliance of that argument and the chutzpah. So it takes a little brilliance to come up with a good lie. So what do you tell your child when he lies? You try to convince him that it's disgusting how you lie. That's what it is? It's disgusting? Is that the problem? If he was lying to somebody else, it wouldn't be so bad. But to me, oh, that's disgusting. Lying is not disgusting, it's just forbidden. Keep things clear. Don't make everything personal, because then the child takes everything personal. So you don't say to a child who lies, say, "Are you so dumb you think you can fool me by telling me this narish a lie?" Don't make it personal. Everybody lies, and nobody is allowed to lie. So teach what's right or wrong clearly. A child tells a lie, you could say, "Wow, that's brilliant. That's really smart." But you're not allowed. Tarnished.
Why should he care if he's allowed or not?
You see? That exactly is the whole problem. If we don't teach right from wrong, only disgusting or not disgusting, then you've never really convinced him that there is a right and wrong. He has no moral idea at all. All he knows is, don't upset mom, because she's got a hair trigger temper, and don't be disgusting. Right and wrong, he has no idea what that means. So if he does something that is wrong, he walks away thinking, yeah, I'm disgusting, right? No. You're adorable. But you're not allowed to do that. So this is what happens. If it's not a disgusting thing. If it's not a perverted thing, then what? You're just not allowed. That's all. That's all. You see how bad that is? Oh, so it's just a sin. Oh, okay. Just a sin. You mean I shouldn't do it just because the Eibishter said no? Come on, what kind of reason is that? It's not disgusting. My mother isn't even upset. So how can it be bad? Do you see how bad that is? We haven't taught anything. And that's what's going on in the society around us. In the society around us, nothing is wrong. Nothing is right. It just depends on how people feel. If it hurts somebody, then it's bad. Makes people happy, it's wonderful. Right and wrong? I don't know what you're talking about. We tell our children before they go off to camp, nobody is allowed to touch you inappropriately. That's true, no? It's important. But we're dealing with all the Torah kids. They don't know what inappropriate means, and they can't spell it. So if you tell your kids, nobody should touch you inappropriately, your kids say, in a what? I never go into appropriate. So inappropriate, I'm never there. When you tell a child right and wrong, a mitzvah or an Aveda, what you're telling the child without saying it, what you're telling the child is like this. Treif candies, chol vacuum, taste better than your Chol Yisrael garbage. It does. Better than cream cheese? I don't think so. So when you say to a child, it's Chol Vacuum, you can't eat it. Did you happen to mention that it also tastes better than the Chol Yisrael? No. Why would you say something like that? That would only encourage him to try the Chol Vacuum. So you try to give the impression that Chol Vacuum tastes bad. You probably will choke on it and die. Or certainly get indigestion. Now what's going to happen if, for whatever reason, he eats Chol Vacuum?
Mythbuster.
And,
It's a mythbuster.
And he doesn't get sick, and it tastes very good. He's so confused. Worse than that, if you tell him you eat chazer, it's so disgusting. Pigs, you see pigs, they're so disgusting. And then he ends up eating something from pork. It really tastes good, smells good. Now, what is he supposed to think? He knows that it's disgusting. It's a pig. And he liked it. Well, that must mean that he is a pig. How depressing is that? So if you want to teach your child right from wrong, you got to tell the truth. You have to say to the child, bacon is people's favorite breakfast because it's delicious, it's easy to make, it's whatever, build it up. The truth. It's the truth. I think Rambam says that pork is the healthiest meat. But one little problem. You're not allowed. Everything you're not allowed is going to taste good. Isn't that true? Everything you're not allowed to do feels good. Isn't that true? In fact, the only reason anyone would ever do a sin is because it feels good. Otherwise, what, you do it l'shma? You do it with Mesiras Nefesh? What do you... You do a sin because it feels good. But if you give the impression to a child, only Mishugayim do sins, only perverted people who... Come on. You're ruining your child. So you have to say to your child, there are pleasures that God wants us to have, and there are pleasures that God doesn't allow us to have. But they are pleasures. Don't give false impressions. So if it's a pleasure, why can't I do it? Because God said no. Now the child is prepared for real life. But if you kind of say, come on, you don't want to eat that, do you? No, you don't. You don't want to run around with girls, do you? No, you're. What do you mean, no? Yeah. But you're not allowed. Well, obviously, when you say that something is wrong, that's a serious statement. It's just a sin. Not just. That's it.
Take it so seriously.
There was always a fact of life that you can't just do whatever you want. It was a fact of life. Particularly in Russia. Can you do whatever you want? Nothing. The government is spying on you all the time. You watch what you say, you watch where you go, you even watch what you think, because they know what you're thinking. So it became a fact of life that just because you think so, just because you want, doesn't mean you can do it. There was this accepted notion that your impulses need to be under control because you're going to get into big trouble. We don't have that anymore. The average person, Frum or not, when and where does the average person control his impulses? By eating? There's no control. Talking? No control. You say whatever you want about anybody you want. So the idea that you want something but you can't has become like foreign language. I want it, I do it, I like it, I take it. Smells good, I eat it. Of course, we don't eat today, but that's all part of the habit. There's no effort, it's not a self-discipline. And that's why Chassidus says, I don't care how strict you are about keeping kosher, don't eat the extra dessert. The kosher one. Don't eat it. Why? Skafia. What does that mean? It means you can't just take everything you like. You can't just eat whatever. Have a little self-control. Or what they call today impulse control. Because without that, you're going to become a monster. I can't trust you with anything. If we're not disciplined, if we don't get comfortable with the idea, it's okay to want something and not have it. It's okay. It's okay to enjoy something and not be able to enjoy it. It's okay. in most people's minds today, it's not acceptable. But I want it. Like children. Well, you can't have that. It's not your toy. But I want it. But I have it. I took it. Yeah, but it's not yours. Doesn't register. So look at how important it is to empower children to be able to say no to themselves. It's so valuable. And it's not repressive, and you're not doing damage to their psyche. You're giving them control over themselves. Not you control them. They control themselves. And it begins in the head. Does it register? Does it make sense to you that you can want something, but you can't have it? That doesn't make sense to you. Isn't that what a Yetzer Hara means? A Yetzer Hara means the desire for things I can't have. So, are you surprised that you have the desire? That's a Yetzer Hara. Are you surprised that you can't have it? That's a Yetzer Hara. A Yetzer Hara means I would enjoy doing what I'm not supposed to. I would enjoy taking what isn't mine. So here are the two crucial points. Point number one. Every Aveda feels good. Every sin is enjoyable. Otherwise, nobody would ever do it. And that's why so few people rebel and fry out, because they weren't allowed to wear shatnez. Nobody ever said, I can't take this anymore. I'm never going to be able to wear shatnez. I'm frying out. Very few people have a taiva for shatnez. The things we have a taiva for are things that feel good, taste good, smell good. That's why we have a taiva for it. And we're not allowed to do it. So a child needs to know, don't be surprised if you do an Aveda and it feels really good. And no matter how good it feels, you're still not allowed. I heard a story about a guy who comes to a Rav and he says, Rebbe, my son is a meshuggah, he's out of his mind, I don't know what to do with him. He dances with women, he eats chaza. He's meshuggah. So the Rav said, let me explain something to you. If he danced with the chazer and ate women, that would be meshuggah. But dancing with women and eating chazer, tormanisht. He's perfectly sane, but he's doing what you're not allowed. Right? Don't confuse the two. So every Aveda is a sane behavior. People do it because it feels good. You say, well, I can't imagine that that feels good. Okay, you have a limited imagination. Why would you want to do that? Try it. Can't understand why girls have to dress non-sneers. What? If it didn't feel good, they wouldn't be doing it. It's not Mesiras Nefesh on their part. So, of course it feels good. You feel free, and you feel cute, and you feel, oh, whatever. Yeah, it feels really nice. Tarnished. I once tried to talk to a group of 12-year-olds, in Talmud Torah about premarital sex. They were too immature. There was no way. So I changed the subject. That's what they were studying in school. I was the guest lecturer. I said, okay, forget it. Never mind. Let's talk about extramarital. About married people cheating. All of a sudden, these ridiculously immature, giddy kids become very serious. It's like turning a switch. Everybody became quiet, sitting still. Because the thought that their parents might all of a sudden, whoa, 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 whoa. Not that. So we talked about it a little bit, and then I went back to the first topic. I said, so tell me, if it's so wrong that a married person behaves as if he's not married just for one weekend, it's so wrong, then why is it okay for a non-married person to behave as if he is married just for the weekend? Oderahin, oderaher. Is it right or is it wrong? So we tell our children the Eitz Hadas was very tempting, but it was a chet. Every sin is pleasurable. Secondly, those who do sins are still themselves. A Jew is still a Jew. A woman who does something women are not supposed to do, still a woman. A man does something that men are not supposed to do, he's still a man. You do something I don't want you to do, you're still mine. Don't change your identity to the Aveda. You're much bigger, there's much more to you than the Aveda. We're not afraid of Avedas, we're afraid of the Eibishter. We don't want to lose our connection to the Eibishter. We're not afraid of Avedas. And Aveda is a foolishness. Hasidim are more concerned with Asay Tov than with the Sur Mirah. Make sense? I want to do something. I made a mistake. I did what you shouldn't. All right. But I'm back at work. I'm ready to do another mitzvah. So, there was a woman at Beis Chana many years ago. And this was in the 70s. People were quite immoral back then. She sat a few days in class. She seemed to be enjoying it. And then one day says to me, I have to leave. So what do you mean you have to leave? She said, I don't fit here. I said, what's wrong? What's your problem? She says, I know what I've done. You can't just go from really bad to holy. It can't be. It can't be possible. So I got to go back and kind of be neutral for a while and work. You can't just go from dark to light. It's not right. So that's a misnagdic attitude. A chassid thinks, what's dark? What's dark? It's just the absence of light. So because it was dark, you can't turn on the light. Asay Tov, much stronger than the Sur Mirah. And that's why we are ready for Mashiach. Really? We're ready for Mashiach. You know how many sins we do? Yeah. But sins are temporary. The mitzvahs that we do are permanent. So right now, in this world, There's 5,000 years worth of mitzvahs absorbed into this world. And Avedas, one generation. The previous generation, they already paid for their sins. It's erased. It's gone. So we're not intimidated by a sin. We want to do the right thing. We're not victims of sin. Shalom Aleichem. How are you? You know, I do a lot of talking, a lot of Zooming, many classes, many subjects, but that's all formal stuff. Hopefully good stuff, but formal. We also have a Wednesday night meeting that's more informal and kind of Hamish. If you want to join us for that kind of an event, interactive, time for questions and so on. If you want to join us for this side of conversation, click on the link below and join us every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Well, maybe not every Wednesday night, but we try to make it every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, a more informal chat, which can be more enjoyable at times than the formal stuff. So check it out. Click on the link and join us. Try it. You'll like it.